Hola, Gringos and Gringas. Welcome back to Gringos Are Us, Expats with a Plan. This week, we're going to show you where we got all that data that was on the spreadsheet that Gina shared with you last week.
Stay tuned. So, like Mark was just saying, today we're going to share with you all the major websites where we got the data to fill in our spreadsheet.
And this was really a collaborative effort. What we basically did was, while Gina was filling in and creating the actual spreadsheet, and we kept bantering about, we need this information, we need that information. She's on one laptop doing, let's create the spreadsheet, and I'm over there searching on the other, trying to go, let me see. Well, we got this site to do this, and we got that site to do this. And after a lot of digging deep onto the internet, these are the sites that we came up with that really were the best ones to garner the information that we kept looking for.
And so let's get to it.
Off we go.
So right away, the very first website that I'm demonstrating here now, these are the official government websites for municipalities in Mexico. This particular one was for Laredo. You can right-click and select Translate to English if you don't speak Spanish fluently. This particular site was for Mazatlan. There are a lot of things you could garner from these sites. You just have to look around. Each community's government site is a little bit different and has different information. Another big help was the visitmexico.com, if for nothing else than tourism type information. But it might have something in there about the culture or what's popular in that area as far as food or festivals. And you can simply type in the box at the top where you want to look. So I looked for Merida, and then of course San Miguel. Nomad Travel Tools. I thought this was interesting for a simple comparison between cities. If you're interested in finding co-work spaces, things like that. It's something I would like to look into a little deeper. I'm going to say right off the bat, I don't trust their internet speeds on here because I changed through several different locations and it's like the internet speeds never changed. However, there was some other information here. I'm particularly interested in locating co-working spaces. WeatherSpark. This is a large conglomerate of several individual graphs. As you can see, shows you the rainy months, which coincides with the mugginess, which also coincided with the cloud cover. But if you want to see it all together, this was interesting. And I thought it was neat that they put in here the best times to be a tourist. Of course, Wikipedia has a lot of information as well, and they also have a climate section, which has a lot of the more detailed information, such as the record highs, record lows, things like that. Now, my favorite site is this city population site. You can go state by state And they will have major cities, municipalities, and smaller towns. So in Guanajuato here, we can pull up San Miguel de Allende, and it's going to give us basically where I got the population, kilometer area, and the population density. It also has links that'll take you to mostly Google resources. It does pop up the temperature there. But most of those searches are going to take you to Google. They're Google searches, like the images was Google Images, as you can see. Listing of restaurants and shopping centers and sites, all Google driven. But you can go back to the search feature and really just type in what you're looking for, and you can find it very easily on here. It gives you a list, select the place you want, in this case Sayulita, and there you go. Gives you a little more detail. Got things like split between the genders, literacy rates, as you can see, the age groups. I don't like the spread on this age group. There's too much of a grouping between the teenager and the senior in the middle. Wikipedia has a great page on Pueblos Mágicos. So even if you're interested just to see where they're located, this was a great place to pull up some information about these locations. And then you can decide if you want to go take a day trip and visit. This particular website was very good for the zip codes. And it'll give you an entire location. You can zoom in on that map and see it in better detail. But that's really not necessary. I think the greatest thing about this website is underneath all the cities of the state. And then you can also pick out the city that you're interested in. So I picked San Miguel. And now you get a listing of the neighborhoods. You get the colonias, the barrios, and you can also see in the far right column if they're considered urban or rural. This site I spend a lot of time on. I really like this map. This is breaking down the rate of murders and the number of murders. This gentleman here pulls all of his information from this Mexican justice system website, which I'm loading now. And I like this. He updates it every month. He goes to this site and he goes to another site and pulls the data and he takes it right back to his site. I'm not sure what Inegi means, but he uses that too. He basically states that he updates it every month. In addition to that, I wanted to understand his calculations as well, and so there it is. He annualizes the rates on that homicide map. So basically the math goes like this. In Cajeme, they had 583 murders and the population is 472,596. And then you multiply that by 100,000 people. That's where the 123.4 is coming from. In Chihuahua, same thing. You have 327 murders. Population is 957,141. Multiply that by 100,000. And that is the murder rate there. What is important to note on this particular site is that the color, the darker the color, the higher the rate, but the smaller the circle, the fewer the number of murders. So look how small the circle is for Tulum. It's quite small, but Tulum doesn't even have 20,000 people living in it. So while Cancun may be a larger location, and while Cancun may have more murders than Tulum does, it's going by two values here. So ideally, you would like a small circle that's light colored. Here you have several statistics you can pull up, and it loads graphs for every one of them, for anyone who's into looking at graphs. These are locations that had either spiked or decreased. Decrease is always a good thing. There's a lot to unpack at this site. If you're really into criminal statistics, this site is amazing. I love that there was a happy face there because there were no states with an upward homicide trend in February. Now on this particular page, the blue line is what was reported. The magenta line is the estimate of the total crimes committed. You know, a lot of crimes don't get reported, unfortunately. And that's another thing to always keep in consideration. These images are nice little graphs. I suppose that he prints these out so that they can be used for PowerPoints or lectures. It's more additional data that can be pulled. You can follow the points. I like this one. Showed an increase in red and the decreases in blue. And of course, at the top we have the most violent and the least violent. NationMaster is another one. It has some good crime statistics on it. You can compare countries. You can also compare localities. I like that they have an area for definitions, and I actually did need that because I didn't understand what the crime of lesions meant. And I believe it means injuries. Crimes that had injuries to someone. But there's a lot you can compare here. Like I'm comparing Mexico to the United States. I'm comparing all sorts of all different types of crime. Numbeo is also another favorite. Lots of data on this site. They have a little bit of crime statistics to look at, but they have other things too, like the cost of living, property taxes, etc. So while they're not very detailed in the crime rates, it seems to me that these are more of a survey. This is more of a contributor site. This isn't getting pulled from any legal justice system websites like the other page I spoke of earlier. I think that I want to dig a little deeper into finding the sources for this on this particular site. but it is something to consider. This is where I got the information about rents. This information is submitted by collaborative visitors to the site. So it is what it is. It's only as accurate as the information that's being submitted by end users who visit the site. If there are a lot of data points for that particular location, then it's probably trustworthy. But if you only have 2 or 4 people submitting information, maybe not as much. I decided to compare where I'm currently living to Mérida to find out what the difference is in cost of living. And so they have it broken down here by various areas. Restaurants, markets, I know clothing's in there, transportation, utilities. It's useful. And then you can also compare cities within Mexico with each other. So Mérida and Aguascalientes. So as long as there are people submitting information, the information becomes more and more accurate. Okay, so this site is actually pretty impressive for what it is. Cellular services in Mexico. One of them is Altan Redes. And it gives you along the bottom, you have 2G, 3G, 4G, 4G plus, and 5G. So I zoomed in on San Miguel de Allende. I'm looking at both the network coverage and the download bit rates. Movistar was a little bit weaker. 3G, not too many data bit rate spots. I expected that AT&T would be pretty good, and I was right. We've got 4G, 4G plus, a little bit of 3G in there. And there's a few more of the bitrate data points. But I've got to say, by far, it's going to go to Telcel. Telcel has 5G coverage in the center of town. Lots of 4G plus. And then as you get to the outskirts, 3G, 4G. And they have a lot of download bitrate data points on the map. In the higher colors too. Some of them pushing 20 megs or more. Overall, here's the entire map. Compare that to Movistar. Compare that to AT&T. But now look at Telcel. There you go, folks. Telcel's got it covered. WalkScore is an interesting site if you want to take a look and see what the walkability of a certain location is, but I think this is deceptive because you really need to visit. You really do. This is also being submitted by end users. This is a collaborative effort, and you can only go by what somebody shared. So they had one data point in San Miguel, and what this person is saying is based on their location in the middle, here are all the things that are within reasonable walking distance to them. And that's great. And if you're in the center of town and you don't have a lot of hills to migrate, well, that's great. Wikitravel, kind of like Wikipedia, but what was interesting about Wikitravel is they give you information that you might not find in other places from a tourist perspective. So you get a little more cultural history about the location. You also get information on how to travel, plane, shuttle, bus, foot, bike, car, taxi, etc. There's also going to be information here about how the walkability. Like right here, they say some of these places can be difficult to walk. There are inclines that are 15 to 20 degrees. So you have hills that you're navigating. You've got cobblestones. Sometimes the cobblestones aren't in great condition. So I'm glad they note that. They also show sites of interest, things to do, we also get some information on shopping, places to eat, places to go out and have a drink. If you're staying on a budget, places where you can stay the night. And then, of course, they range from budget to mid and high. It's got some information, and it could definitely be helpful. Expats in Mexico. I haven't thoroughly dug all the way through this site, but what it seems to be, from what I can see, is a website full of blog entries. Lots of bloggers contributing, adding information, but the information is good. So there's things in there, as you can see, about medical care, pharmacies. So if you have some time on your hand and you want to read some blogs, this seems like a good centralized location to find some of those. And it's not just medical. There, as you see along the top, there are articles about all sorts of things: education, culture, history, legal stuff. If given some time to do some more reading, I definitely want to dig a little deeper. I also like that they have some of the cities broken down specifically, and you can go straight in and look at things like climate and cost of living, etc. Expatistan. This has got some good information as well. I like that prices are listed for things that people commonly buy. Again, this is completely reliant on end users sending this information in. So you have visitors that are sending the data, and the data is updated, probably averaged with multiple people submitting the information, but it will give you a basic idea of what you think items might cost. Of course, you can search for exactly the location you're looking for, and it's going to show you the cost of living as it has been submitted by other users. As you see, it says right there, it's a collaborative effort. I like that there's things in here like clothing. Mexperience. There's some good information. It's organized really well. It's clear. It's concise. It's in English. And this is where I really got the information regarding the actual amount of funds that you would need as a couple. Although it has been pointed out in more than a couple places that may be changing, and it has already changed for many consulates in Canada, that they're requiring both people in the couple to meet the full requirement of an individual for your solvency financial requirements. But there are some consulates that are still going by the primary person in the couple meeting that requirement, and the dependent person in the couple only having to meet an additional $800 to $1,000 a month. But there are other pages on this site where you can find some of this information. Okay, so here is the page regarding the financial solvency requirements as they were on the day that they printed them here. And we do know that that's not consistently true through all the consulates. CityFacts has a nice little database here. You just select where you want to go. It's not super complex. But what I do like about this particular page is while that one page didn't give me a real good breakdown of age groups in a community, this page does. And I really like that because that one page only had them grouped from 15 to 65. This page actually gives you, right here, they actually give you a better bracket to look at, a better graph, I should say. And you can see the ages a little better. And they have some other data that may be of some interest. I like this CO2 emissions. That's helpful. The natural hazards is also very helpful because if you want to know if a place is earthquake prone, hurricane prone, etc., you'll find that information here. But let's go to Querétaro. Again, we have our ages broken down. CO2 emissions, average temperatures, natural hazards. Now I'm going to go to, here we go, Oaxaca. I am going to put links for every one of these websites in the description below the video. If you know of some that you would like to share with us, please do. Oh, Oaxaca. Landslides, cyclones, droughts, floods, and earthquakes. Cats and dogs living together. Sonia Diaz's website has been updated recently. It looks really good. Kudos to her. There's so much information on this site. Even if you cannot use her services, even if you do not go to the places where she offers services, there is a lot of information on this site. She is an immigration specialist. She is based in San Miguel de Allende and Puerto Vallarta. Those are the two areas that she's going to service. Mexico Relocation Guide. What can I say? I think Mariana's got a great website here. It's attractive. It's easy to navigate. She offers things like these tours where you can be introduced to someone who's living in the area that you're interested in. The tour includes her relocation guide. So the relocation guide itself, we're going to be getting it. Because there's things that we are just not going to know, and the resources are going to be in it. But what I love about these tours is that it includes the guide. And it includes lunch. It includes, transportation fees. It includes the person from that area who lives there, who's taking you around for a couple of days, showing you some properties that you may be interested in, things like that. Telling you about the neighborhoods. Is this a good neighborhood? if it's a neighborhood you should stay away from, etc. I mean, anything you wanted to know about that location. So, and then of course there's this relocation guide. I feel like that's $400 well spent, frankly. So we plan on getting it eventually here. There's this website as well. A little bit about the air quality. It's not super detailed, but it's worthy of a dive. I'm going to go back to it and look a little deeper in that. This one I liked a lot, IQAir. It has this map. It has the air streams there. Is that Gulf streams? I'm not sure. The streams, as you can see, the wind moving around. So it kind of lets you know how the currents and everything are being carried. The redder or oranger the spot is, the more pollution they have. The greener, the less pollution they have. And of course, they also have listed on here fires. So I guess if there's some ongoing fires, well, now you know where they are. Because we know that smoke, even if it's a forest fire out of control, that's going to contribute for those who are sensitive. I just kind of zoomed in on Lake Chapala just to get a glimpse real quick.
We hope that was helpful and that you were able to get a lot of good information about where we got the information.
And I would like to personally thank people who left some comments for us, because there were some things that I added to the spreadsheet, like air pollution, for example.
Oh no, it's growing even bigger.
It is. If you found this video to be helpful, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel,
And ring that bell.
That way you'll get notified the next time we drop a video. And that little bit from you, just the subscription and the thumbs up, helps those logarithms grow on YouTube. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We want to thank all of you who have watched this and watched our other ones for taking the time out of your schedule to just watch what we're doing. And hopefully you're going to come along with us for the entire journey.
Yay! Because we are
Gringos are us. Expats with a plan. If we can do it, you can too.
Adios!
Hasta la vista.